My name is Michael Vicens. I was born in Ponce, Puerto Rico. I was an air traffic controller for 16 years. Before the incident, my life was based around my family and my passions. My passion is the ocean and water, sports in the ocean, and I have a son and a daughter. And my main focus was to be the best dad and husband that I could be. I even got to meet some of my heroes that I look up to in the surfing and waterman arena. Just 2 weeks after that, my life changed forever. So I started March 11, 2018, just like every single day, and I went off with my jet ski to Rincon, Puerto Rico. At the marina, I was approached by a person that I knew, and he said that he needed to use my jet ski for this production. I agreed to help. We were all still helping each other after Hurricane Maria. And as I got to understand what was going on, I realized that it was Steve-O and Chris Pontius, the Jackass guys. They took two jet skis and pulled themselves apart. And they had this bungee type thing in between them. The bungee that they were using broke. I ended up being seriously injured. I was taken out of the water. Self-preservation mode kicked in. That's when everything kind of went crazy. My head was hurting a lot. I felt this crazy, incredible pain. I was a little bit nauseous, but I was still survival mode. Every minute that went on, the confusion grew, the pain grew. I could tell in the eyes of the doctors that something seriously was wrong. And I started to tell everybody, take the pressure out of my head. You need to take the pressure out of my head. They tried to do like an x-ray on my head where I laid back down. That the world started spinning around on me. The pain became too much, and I told them I couldn't, that I needed help. Once I was put on the stretcher and put into the ambulance, everything went dark. I don't remember much after that point. My wife, who must have been terrified, she told me that she saw me fighting for my life. As I started to come back into consciousness, they started to explain to me the extent of my injuries. I suffered epidural hematoma, bleeding in my brain. When I saw the CT scans, I understood immediately that the big blood clot had pushed my brain into the center. I also had a C5, C6 injury of a herniated disc. My nerves from my neck to my arms were damaged, and I had difficulty using, especially my right hand at the beginning. They had to do plastic surgery on my ear to kind of put it back together. And I had to get a craniotomy, which means that they break your skull open, expose your brain, and scoop out all this blood. I was 40 years old at the time. Somebody touched my brain. I had brain surgery. I'm an air traffic controller. My brain is like my job. You know, my hands would shake, my head would shake. I couldn't sleep. The pain was so intense. They ended up having to give me painkillers. I was on all these crazy medications, and me coming back to reality was a very slow process. The medication that they gave me, Keppra, 1,000 milligrams, was an anticonvulsive. And I remember, I'm ashamed to say this, but I remember I was in my room being taken care of, and I remember planning to murder my wife and my mom. I don't know why I thought about that. We called the doctor and they took me off those meds. I could speak, but thinking was very difficult. You can imagine, I was an air traffic controller, one day surfing 20-foot waves with my heroes. Now my mom's feeding me, and I can't speak for more than a minute. I remember seeing my son for the first time after the accident. I just remember plopping down next to him on the bed and just crying for hours. Understanding that I almost lost all of that. According to the doctors, I was 20 minutes to 2 hours away from not being here anymore. It's been 3.5 years since the day of my accident. We tried to resolve this outside of court, but we were not able to, and that was the turning point. I can't sum up all the little moments that my family has been through that I will always wonder, did they have to happen? And I can tell you, they're not good moments. I don't even know if I'm going to be able to pay the school, my bills next month. That's the reality that I live, and that's been the reality since the day of the accident. I was an air traffic controller. I had an head injury, and I always ask people after what I've been through, would you want me to be your air traffic controller? And I have to ask myself that, because that's my duty. That's what I was trained to do. Is always be ready, 110% ready to keep everybody else safe. And the reality is that I don't know if I can do that. I'm taking medication now, and I can't pass my medical. You need a medical certificate to be an air traffic controller and to be a pilot. So what I went to school for, and what my parents sacrificed a lot for, what I sacrificed a lot for, I cannot do. I decided to get control of my life and what's going on. So we decided to switch lawyers. So I believe the lawyers were not doing enough for my family. But we have in our custody the bungee that broke. The item that almost killed me was in that box. And this was never even opened. It was in their office just sitting there. And that's why we're here today with my new counsel, looking for justice, for an opportunity to just sit and tell my story in front of a jury. I want to get on with my life.